Jeannie has worked at her current company for 3 years, but this will be the first Christmas party I've attended since I've been busy with work for the past 2 years. I assumed, based on her disappointment over the previous 2 years, that she would really like me to meet her colleagues, although now thinking about it, she was not too insistent on my visiting this year. But being a very attentive husband, I decided that I would squeeze my buttocks, pull myself together, and together we would walk through the doors of the luxurious hotel where the event was being held. She only managed to introduce me to a couple of people before she disappeared into the crowd. I wandered around the hall. No one cared about me. While tasting another appetizer, I unwittingly overheard a conversation between two guys. What I heard slows me down like hell. In fact, it makes me completely freeze. Moreover, my blood is ice in my veins. Damn, man, she looks sexy in that red dress. Yes, you can understand why Clive is dating her. Oh, come on, it's just office gossip. Bullshit, I heard it from Sue, his secretary. She saw them go into that hotel around the corner after work a couple of weeks ago. According to her, he spends a couple of hours at lunch about twice a week, and whenever he's away, she notices that that bitch isn't sitting at her desk at that time either. Damn, he works fast. How long has he been here? Month? Yes. Well, he is good-looking and a little younger than her. Yes, and she is married. But I'll tell you what, they wouldn't want old man Higgins to catch them. He's tough as nails on this kind of shit. Remember last year when he caught those two kissing under the mistletoe? Whatever else they say is impossible to understand as their voices fade as they walk away. Or maybe it's just the roaring in my ears drowning them out. All I can hear is my own heartbeat. Fast. Too fast. What is troubling about their conversation? Ginny. We've been married for 8 years. She looks absolutely stunning in the new red dress she bought for the party tonight. And looking back, she's been a little quieter than usual for the last month or so. With a sudden sense of urgency, I frantically scan the ballroom. How many other women wear red dresses? There must be at least one more. It can't be that they were talking about my Jeannie. For a short flash, relief. Red seems to be a very popular color this year. There should be at least 6 to 8 red evening dresses in the room. But then I do a second, slower scan of the party-goers. Only a couple of ladies can be called hot, and only Jeannie is standing next to the table allocated to us with a younger guy. He's wearing the same tuxedo as me. However, this is where the similarities end. While I look like a gorilla buttoned up in a suit, the guy looks like he was born into one. I approach them, noticing that they are standing very close to each other. There are several other people nearby, but none of them are close enough to engage in conversation with them. In the blink of an eye, my spidery senses go from worry to blatant awareness. When she sees me coming, Ginny takes a small step back, and her eyes look away after the briefest of contact. Seeing her reaction, her interlocutor looks in my direction throughout the 4 long steps separating us. Voice Ginny uncertain. Dave, this is my new boss that I may have told you about, Clive. I don't really need to hear that name. I already guessed who it was, just by the smile that spread across his face. It's a smug, boastful smile. A not-so-subtle, I slept with your wife smile. A rage, the likes of which I have never felt before, rises within me. I desperately want to punch his face and wipe that smile off his face, but I maintain enough control not to. He extended his hand just at the moment when I thought that he was gloating in vain. True to his nature, his arm is raised high and flat, palm facing the floor, in the dominant position of men with big egos but little dignity. I consider doing nothing about the weak, well-cared-for slug, but I can't help myself. Before I could take it in my hand, I felt that he was trying to pull away. I don't let him. I rotate our palms to the traditional vertical position and squeeze. I squeeze. His hands are used to pressing pens, tapping on elegant keyboards, and caressing other people's wives. Mine are calloused and strong. The last thing I see before my gaze shifts to my wife is his face, from which the blood has drained. I feel the bones in his hand grinding against each other. Jeannie hears a groan escape his lips. A look of confusion appears on her face. She looks down at our joined hands, looks up at my face, and understands. She realizes that her secret has been revealed. He understands that there will be no forgiveness from me. He understands that we will not have those children that we recently talked about. He understands that we are finished. Her hand goes up to her throat. I just look at her. I press on the feminine hand. His left hand comes to the aid of his right wrist, grabbing, trying in vain to separate us. It only takes him a few seconds to realize that it is useless. He slowly sinks to his knees, his moans getting louder. However, I continue to increase the pressure. I feel a growing enclave of silence emanating from our small painting. I don't even show the guy the courtesy of looking at him. I keep looking at Jeannie. She is clearly struggling with the urge to run away. I think my gaze is what holds her in place. The kneeling man lets out a high-pitched scream, more like a little girl's squeal, as I feel something crunch in his paw. I increase the pressure a little more. By this time, tears are streaming down his face. Ginny, same. He whines. So is she. The expression on his face is as far removed from the malevolent smile with which he greeted me as a human being can possibly be. The room is now almost silent except for our little circle of sobs and squeals. Jeannie breaks eye contact, her gaze darting to the man who has just entered my peripheral vision. Next to her is Mr. Higgins. I know who it is. He built the company from scratch that my wife works for and about, which she speaks with reverence. As I stare at Jeannie, I feel, rather than see Higgins looking down at the nearly tearful, squealing man, his sales manager, then at my wife. Jeannie, on the other hand, looks anywhere but at me and the owner of the company. I feel someone's hand gently grab me. The voice that accompanies this sounds sympathetic. Okay, son, let him go. Then I'll figure it out myself. With a final squeeze that elicits a loud cry, I comply. My eyes throw down a scene that everyone in the room silently watches, understanding mainly by the guilty expression on their face, Ginny, why the humiliated man suffered at my hand. Focusing on Mr. Higgins, I nod at him and, with one last glance at my soon-to-be ex-wife, I turn and walk away, hearing, "Nigel, call an ambulance for my former sales manager, please. Mrs. Brown, come with me. I think we need to discuss your resignation. Please like and subscribe to the channel and you will never be cheated on."